Welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. I'm Jonathan and I'm joined by Brett and Graham for our preview show ahead of Woking and Yeovil. You can check out our previous episode to get our thoughts after the Macclesfield victory in the FA Cup. So Brett, it feels like a good time for Tamworth to be playing Woking and Yeovil. What do you think?
Yeah, massively. I think you look at the way we're going on the back of two really positive results, both very winnable games, both at home. Uh, so I think both more than capable of being wins, and I'm really excited now seeing the way the two new signings have settled in with another game under the belt, a bit more training sessions. I think we could win both of these and go into the Huddersfield game with a real, uh, a real positive mindset and a real good bit of momentum.
I was thinking earlier, Graham, like the Barnet 7-0, looking back now, it feels like a real turning point. Like that feels like kind of the spark for a wave of momentum now that's built for Tamworth.
Yeah, I think after that game, we had the Eastleigh game, and I guess we just kind of started again, really, didn't we? And I don't think we played that badly in that game. We could have perhaps probably got something out of it on another day. When you looked at it and you thought, well, yeah, 1-0 was a massive improvement from what had happened the week before. And then we've just gone from there, really, and built from it. And yeah, had some really fantastic results and ended up sitting quite nicely in mid-table, which is, yeah, I don't think we could have asked for a better start, really, when you look at it now overall. Aside from that Barnet result, as a fan, I feel quite confident going into the next two games because we're at home and we've still got quite a few injuries, yet we have so many options, it feels like. So I think, yeah, we just go into it with the same mentality as usual and see how we end up.
Looking at Woking then to start off with, they beat Slough in the FA Cup at the weekend, but their last league win and last league clean sheet came on the 10th of September. So you would have to say this is a very good opportunity for Tamworth to get a home win here. And it's also worth pointing out Tamworth are a point and a place ahead of them in the table.
Maybe I'm wrong to be feeling quite so optimistic to go into the game like we'll comfortably win because that's got the potential then of being like another Altrincham. But actually, um, I think really it's balanced well in our favour.
What about you, Graham? Do you think this is a good opportunity for 3 points?
On paper, absolutely, yeah. I did a bit of research into Woking, and I looked at their highlights from their game against Slough on Saturday. It was obviously a cup game, but I mean Slough were probably the better team. Really, they dominated. To me, they look like there's quite a lot of vulnerabilities that Tamworth can probably capitalise on, especially at home. So I'd feel very confident going into the game that we can at least get a draw out of it. But also don't want to feel too overconfident going into a National League game. Woking are a full-time side. They're well established. And they've probably got, some pretty good players. So yeah. But I mean, based on sort of current form and everything, yeah, you'd feel like we might well even be favourites to win the game, probably based on that.
It's a similar story when you look at Yeovil. They got knocked out of the FA Cup at the weekend away at Chesham. They are 1 point ahead of Tamworth in the table at the time of recording. And going into the weekend, they've got one win in 6 league games. And I make it 2 goals in their last 7 matches in the National League and FA Cup as well. So it again feels like a team who are going to come to Tamworth and probably not in the best of form, Brett.
Yeah, again, I think a great time to be playing them. It's far for them to come. I know because I'll be making the same journey and it's further. And obviously, you've got the extra spice and unpredictability in this. So that Cooper's the manager. that should really give it an extra lift. It definitely will, I think, for the fans.
I wonder as well, just an extra kind of reason why it might be a good time to play Yeovil. They will be playing away at Wealdstone on Saturday, which I suppose a lot of their away trips are long away trips, but going from Yeovil to London's no sort of walk in the park, so to speak. That'll be a few hours on the road, I imagine.
I think it's going to be an interesting game anyway. With Mark Cooper coming back, I hope he gets a good reception, because he did do quite a bit for us when he was here when we were in the conference all that time ago, and we had some good times with him, and especially as a player as well. I think you probably remember that even more. His free kicks were brilliant, really, when we were in the conference and got us out of some sticky patches, I would say, at times. So I've certainly got a lot of respect for Cooper. Yeah, I'm sure he will get a good reception, but then he'll probably get some stick as well.
Right then, let's go on to our predictions for this double header then. And a reminder, in our mini league, it's 1 point for a correct result and 3 points for a correct scoreline. So a few matches to go back over then since we last did this. So I was the only one to predict defeat at Halifax, which means a point to me for that. And none of us predicted a Tamworth victory against Gateshead. We all thought Tamworth would beat Macclesfield, but none of us quite got a correct scoreline, although a pat on the back for Graham and myself, who were both 1 goal off the eventual 4-2 result. So that means a point apiece there. Scores on the doors. So I move up to 14 points. Graham is on 9 and Brett is on 7. Woking at home. Graham, would you like to go first for your scoreline prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0 to Tamworth. Stay optimistic. 2-0 to Tamworth. I don't really have any workings behind that, which I never do usually. But my bold predictions have been faring quite well recently, so I'm going to go 2-0 to Tamworth.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Tamworth. Struggling, obviously, to keep goals out, but I think we've got that confidence going forward now as well. So, yeah, 2-1.
I've also gone for 2-1, and my logic there, similar to you, Brett, I just think it feels like a game where there'll be a few goals. Woking haven't kept a clean sheet for a little while. Tamworth also just haven't kept that many clean sheets this season, but I think they'll win. On to Yeovil, I'll go first. I'm going to go, this is very boring, 0-0. And my logic there is Yeovil aren't scoring many, but I just can't see Tamworth winning both these matches. And I wonder, I think Yeovil will come to Tamworth, and they are obviously a really good side. And had they not sort of had a run where they didn't pick up wins, they'd probably be much higher than they are in the league table, probably be in the playoff position. So I think 0-0 for me. Brett, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 to Tamworth. I can see it being played in the same vein that Gateshead was. Maybe not quite such a high tempo, but yeah, I think 1-0. I think we've got to make the most out of these games in between the cups because we could be out of the cup after 2nd of November weekend. Got some tricky games coming up in November, and then you're into always challenging conditions going into December. So I think we need to get the most out of what we can now, like we have been. So I'm going to go 1-0.
Graham?
And a similar logic to you guys already in terms of when you look at how many goals Yeovil scored this season, how many conceded. They don't concede that many, but they also don't score loads. You've scored 2 less than us, but they're further up the table. So I'm going to go for a draw, and I'm going to go 1-1. I think probably be a bit more of a low-scoring game. Perhaps Yeovil might not come out the same way as what Gates said potentially did with trying to just fast their way through. Just based on that, how many goals they concede and how many score, probably a little bit more caution coming away from home. Tuesday night, 3G pitch, all those things that come ground throws up. So I think I'll take a 1-1 as well. I'll take 4 points out of those 2 games, 100%. One way or another. If it's the other way around, fine. But also take 6 points, obviously. But let's see what let's see what happens. But 1-1 for me.
That's all for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you enjoyed the podcast, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this episode a like. It really helps us grow our audience. Until next time, goodbye.